Daniel Blake is quite a simple story. It's about a guy, Daniel Blake, who is in his late 50s. He's been looking after his wife. At home, she passes away. He has a very major heart attack, survives that, and is told by his doctor he can't go back to work. So he applies for benefits, sickness benefit. He has to go to be assessed to see if he's eligible for this. He doesn't pass the eligibility, and his money is stopped. So then he has to apply for income and support, and that's where he gets caught up in this Kafkaesque nightmare of the benefit system, and he can't understand why he can't get any help. While he's at the job centre, he befriends a young girl up from London, Katie, who's her and her 2 kids have been sent up. They've been living in a hostel in London, and they get sent up to the northeast because that's the only place they can find accommodation for them. They've shipped them out of London because it's too expensive, and she's alone. She's sanctioned because she's been late getting to the job centre because she didn't know the way to the job centre, the buses and all that. And he befriends her, and they both have this bond together, and they both go through the nightmare of the benefit system together. That's basically what the story is. But it's also a story of people coming together to help each other. It's about help. It's about hope, and being a unit together.
I think it's become more relevant. I think in 2016 when the film came out and I saw it, I felt, oh, that's awful, and but it probably won't happen to me. And I think now, moving into 2023, I think there's a lot of people will feel that Dan's journey could really be them. With the increased pressure and proposed cuts from our current government, the cost of living crisis and other factors across the world that I think will bite harder potentially than they did in 2016. So I think trying to tell that story, and it is a story from the Northeast, and I think it's a story from the Northeast that for a long time I think has much wider universal appeal, because there's huge swathes of the country are going to really feel what's going to happen in the next 2 years if our current government remain in power. So I think it has to be told, and I think we have to, in some ways, show a mirror to them a little bit about the people who make decisions that impact Dan's decisions.
Well, when the film I, Daniel Blake came out in 2016, and it won the Palme d'Or and the BAFTA, and it had a very big impact, we all thought this would be a moment of change, but nothing has changed basically. From 2016 to 2023, it's got even harder for people, and we felt there was still things to say, and so that's why we've decided to adapt it for the stage. There is one thing that's changed. It's the music, the on-hold music. That's changed from Vivaldi to something up-tempo and poppy. But apart from that, ordinary people are still finding it difficult to get through. It's as if they are putting obstacles in the way to get you just to capitulate and not bother,
So I know Dave's worked really hard about building the relationship between Katie and Dan and the relationships with the children and Dan. But part of me also is hoping to be able to achieve, across the top of Dan's story, the macro story of the last 12 years of this government. Over lockdown, I spent quite a long time watching Led by Donkey's Cassette Boy and Cold War Steve, where they've harvested interviews and social media to see the journey of their argument. And you can see it especially around Brexit and also austerity cuts. I think it's absolutely shocking that we have to exist in this country with that level of leadership essentially constantly changing the goalposts on us. We don't know the rules of the game, and I think it's about time that we try to show audiences that come and see it what the game is.
The best thing to do when you're writing an adaptation of something that's well known is to assume that nobody's seen it or nobody knows it, and you treat it as a brand new story. And you know, the one thing I didn't want to do is put the film on stage. So when I talked to Mark, the director, in that, we were adamant that we wanted to give it a sort of a different feel. So the audience that know the film will get the emotional journey that they had with an attachment with the film, but they'll get something different as well from the live experience of watching it with an audience on a live stage, and also the way it's presented. I think it'll be more emotional really, because you'll be actually there in the room with the people this is happening to. That's the power of the theatre, I think.